Well, it's a very good afternoon to you from the West Ham Voice on Sunday afternoon. Oh, I'm trying to be cheery, but I don't think any of us are at the moment, are we? After that performance against Charlton on Saturday, another poor performance and a defeat, a deserved defeat. Charlton deserved their win. Can't take it away from them. We played badly. Charlton did what they needed to do, and they came away with 3 points. And we're going to get an awful lot of teams coming to the London Stadium to do exactly the same. They're going to low block us, and they're going to sit back, and they're going to absorb the pressure. And then when they get their opportunities to break, that's exactly what they'll do. And Charlton did that perfectly on Saturday. And congratulations to them. They deserved the 3 points. Um, you know me, anyone that watches the West Ham Voice will know that I always trying to look for to find positives in the game. But there aren't that many. There are one or two, but I think the negatives really outweigh the positives at the moment. But for those of you who haven't watched me before, and the first time you're watching the West Ham Voice, and all those who have watched but not yet become a subscriber, that QR code takes you to the subscription page. If you like the content, why not subscribe? Doesn't cost anything to subscribe to the channel. So let's crack on. Let's get into it. What positives can we take, or what can we take from the game? Well, let's start with the team selection. I don't think there were many surprises in terms of team selection. We got more or less what we all thought. I predicted that it was going to be the only change that I thought was going to happen was going to be Diouf at left back, but Diouf didn't even make it on the bench. And we'll talk about Diouf in a moment. But the goalie, Hermansen in goal, Walker-Peters, Dinos, Kilman, and Skulls in the back. Debuts for both Engels and Pirro. Kante in the middle, and then, of course, Bowen, Solomon either side with Tati up front. Now, tactical problem straight away, error, was that Pirro played behind Castellanos, which is what? Odd, because Pirro is a goal poacher. Castellanos is capable of playing as a 10. So why did Nuno play them differently? I don't know. But it wasn't working. But that was the lineup. No surprises, but it was interesting to see who was missing from the bench. Diouf was missing. Magassa was missing, even though both players were training all week with West Ham. Cornet, no surprise. And it's obvious what's happening. Apparently, Brentford are now in with a better offer for Diouf, so we're expecting him to go. The fact that he didn't even make the bench suggests quite clearly that he's on his way out of this football club. And we already know that Alvarez is going, Todibo is going, Magassa is going as well, and Cornet as well. So they're all these players are going. So you look at the bench and you say to yourself, what experience have we got there? Areola, goalkeeper, Veltman, defender, and James Ward-Prowse. There are three senior options. And then all the other players are youngsters. Even Makasa, who's come in, on loan from Manchester City. But you've got Myers, you've got Golan Beckes, you've got Le Madrid, who's back from injury, you've got Ajala, Orford, and Makasa. So there's depth, but there's not a lot of strength in depth. And I don't mean that in a bad way to the young players that we've got on the bench. Good on them that they're making it to the bench. But we know that we've got weaknesses in terms of decent backup there. So that was the lineups. And you look at the lineup and many fans would have gone, all right, then that's all right. That should do a job for us. But it didn't, did it? It only took 6 minutes for Charlton to expose us. And again, our central defence has got a lot to answer for. Their first goal, a long throw in, Dinos, just looking at the ball, didn't even try to make an attempt to get it. He vainly sort of went close to it, missed it completely, came to their player. Kilman was too far away from the player in the box. Overhead kick, 1-0, 6 minutes in. And defensive error, a total defensive error. Their second goal was another defensive error. Dinos did the hard part, won the ball back, and then just was looking at the ball, did nothing with it. He had Kilman to one side, he could have passed it to, take it out of danger. But because he was doodling, their number 7, who was their outlet, looked really, really good. Cost 1.5 million, I think. Tyree, is it? I can't remember his surname. Coleman or something like that. Scored their second goal. Nicked the ball from Dinos. Dinos went down looking for a free kick. No way was it a free kick. And then the great strike from outside the box into the corner. And we say Hermansen has got short arms. He's definitely got short arms. Unfortunately couldn't get to it. That's a shot that could have been saved. And I'm going to say it, and I don't care what people think, Areola would have saved that shot. The first one, maybe not, but certainly the second one. So 2-0 down. And then we ended up deciding to start playing football. Yeah, but up until that point, we had all the possession. We did nothing with it. What did I say yesterday? All possession, no penetration yesterday. And it's exactly what we did. All this sideways passing. Engels, who had a start. Now, I mistakenly suggested that he was a attacking midfielder when I first heard about him. I made that error. He's more of number 8, more of kind of a box-to-box, but he looks nothing like Fernandes. Yeah, all right. It's going to take time for him to settle in, get to know the players, etc. But at the moment, I didn't see much penetration. He's a forward-thinking player, a player that creates opportunities, creates chances. But he fell into pass it sideways, pass it sideways, pass it sideways. We did an awful lot of that on Saturday, and no penetration whatsoever. It's only when we went 2-0 down that we started to play football and started to go down the sideline, down the bylines, trying to get the ball into the box, etc. And then we started to have a bit of luck. And that's where our first goal came from. The fact that we got into the box, we got the ball down the line, crossed it in, and then it fell to Piero. And he's a goal poacher, and he did just that. He poached a goal almost out of nothing. And had we been doing that throughout the game, I would have said at least we tried, but we didn't do that. We waited until it was too late to start playing proper football. All this passing sideways, 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 sideways is frustrating for the fans to watch. I don't mind if there's an end product, but unfortunately, there's not even an end product at the moment. So Nuno needs to find another way to play with this football team. I said I was going to judge Nuno on when he gets more players. Now he's got more players. He's got Engels, who's meant to be a progressive player. We've got Mikasa in. We signed Piero, a striker. So now I'm judging him and saying that he's setting up the team not to be able to do. It's almost like we're being kept on a leash and not allowed. When it gets too late, all of a sudden we wake up. That's not the way to play football. It's not the way that we can play football. We still got no urgency, no speed in our lineup, and we've known this for quite a while. Now we've got other problems as well. We've got no solidity in the team either. Do you remember years ago we always used to be accused, West Ham United, of having a soft underbelly, and managers like Allardyce came in and kind of cured that by bringing the type of players in who were sort of hard nuts, the Nolans of this world, etc., etc. And then we went to the soft underbelly again under the likes of Slaven Bilic and so on. And then we got Moyes in, who fixed the soft underbelly again. But now the soft underbelly's come back yet again. And Nuno needs to fix that. But I don't know if he's got the players available to him to do it, or whether he doesn't know how to do it. I don't know. Because one thing, the irony is we had a whole load of half-decent central defensive midfielders, all gone. Alvarez, Potts, and now Magassa, all going to go, which means that we've now got to go out and look for a central defensive midfielder to fill that void. Now, I heard that Potts asked to leave West Ham because he thought he was going to be maybe third choice midfielder with Engels coming in. It's Alvarez saying that he was going to stay and so on. And Potts wanted game time, and rightly so. And the irony now is, if we'd have kept him, Potts would have started that game on Saturday, probably would have been the anchor in order to allow the likes of Engels and other players to do their bit. Engels. Now, I think without that central defensive midfield, Engels looked better in the second half because he had Orford behind him who was doing all the sweeping up. Now, I like Orford. I think that's a massive positive. I think Orford coming on was a lot better than Kante is, I'm afraid. I had high hopes for Kante, but he's maybe a bench player rather than the starter. But Orford came on and he demonstrated that he's good enough to be in this side at the moment, unless we get someone better. So that's a positive. Mikasa coming on, I think, is another massive point. He tried to make things happen. I quite like that. The way he was moving himself around, trying to look for openings, trying to thread balls through, etc. I like that too. I think that's a positive. Solomon, I think he tries hard. Sometimes he tries too hard, keeps the ball a bit too long. But in the second half, he was penetrating more. He was trying to find spaces, getting the ball into it. You could see he was working hard, trying to make openings, which was another positive. But the negative, of course, is the way we were set up, the way we played our football, the way we lackluster went 2-0 down, showing no ambition, no drive, no energy. and just no penetration at all against an opposition. We're going to get a lot of teams. We know this. We're going to get a lot of teams that are going to come to the London Stadium. They're going to sit back. They're going to allow us to have all the possession we want. And all they've got to do is just low block us, keep us out, and then get the ball out to a player that's got a bit of pace about him, and they'll put us in trouble. And Charlton did that effectively, and they did that well. Now, you could argue with the likes of Pironi coming in, Macassaroni coming in, and Engels, etc. They need time to gel. Yeah, of course they do. But then there's the danger there of why you shouldn't do your transfer business late. If you do your transfer business early, you've got all the pre-season to settle these players in. And now we're playing catch up in that respect as well. 1 point in 2 games. We're meant to be champions elect. We're not, are we? We're nowhere near it. The pundits keep saying that we're favourites to go up. I've not seen anything to suggest that we're going to be going up. Certainly not in the first or second place. We might just make the playoffs, but not if we carry on playing the way we currently are. So it's obvious what we need. We need players who know all about the championship. We need some bruisers. We need a Nolan in this side that's going to lead this team. I like Jared Bowen, but I agree with everyone now. He's not captain material. And that was proven when the penalty was given. An opportunity to get back into the game, to get a point from this, an undeserved point, but an opportunity right at the death. And where was Jared Bowen to say, on your bike, mate, I'm taking this, show leadership? He gave it to Tati Castellanos. Tati Castellanos, for 2 games in a row, looked like a player that wanted to get sent off. Had we been playing the Premier League with VAR, I think he would have been sent off last week. And had we been playing the Premier League with VAR on Saturday, he would have been sent off. He put a hand in guy's face. You don't do that. That's a sending off. So his head was gone. So why on earth did I get the logic? Oh, we'll give him a goal, it will give him a boost and all that sort of stuff. It will set him off for the rest of the season. I get that, but not at the crucial stage when we're 2-1 down and you want your regular goal scorer, your regular penalty taker, to take the penalty and smash it in the net. I hate this run-up that all these modern-day players do. We had Ray Stewart, we had Julian Dix, who all they did when they had penalties, they just ran and smashed the ball into the net. None of this pussyfooting around trying to sidestep it and this tippy-tappy to the penalty spot, and then try and roll the ball in. Okay, infringement. There was infringement. Should have been taken again. But again, we don't have the luxury of VAR. So we've got to play by the rules that we've got. The referee didn't see it and the lino didn't see it. So that was that. We can't argue that we don't like VAR and then argue that we, not having VAR is going to go against us. That's the way life is. So it should have been taken again, but it wasn't. And that was that. So why did Bowen let him take the penalty? Show some leadership. And I do agree. We need a few players to come in, but we need some leaders in this squad. We don't have any real true leaders at the moment. All the voices have gone. All the voices were gone when Potter arrived, got rid of them. And now Nuno, well, whether they want to stay or not want to stay, play for him, not play for him, whatever. But those players, the Todibos, the Alvarez's, the Dioufs, the Magassas, would have all started this game if they were up for it, and they would have made this team better, but we don't have them available. So we need to go out and get ourselves some players. Now, I heard, like I said earlier on, Diouf, Brentford are making a better bid for him, so it looks like he'll be gone. The fact that he wasn't even on the bench indicates he's gone. Goalie, apparently we're looking at a goalie on loan. I don't have a name, but we're looking at that. That means that Nuno himself knows Hermansen is not the right choice. So why not play Areola? Now, clearly, Areola is not flavour of the month. Areola is another player that we're looking to sell because he's on big money. James Ward-Prowse is on big money. Areola's on big money. If we can get offers for them, they'll go as well as all the other players that are going. But at this moment in time, we don't have another keeper, and it doesn't look like we'll get a loan keeper in before the midday deadline, to play against Southampton on Tuesday. So I would bring Areola back into the start. I don't want to hear that Hermansen has got a better distribution of the ball. I couldn't give a stuff. I want a goalkeeper to save shots. I don't care about distribution, to be quite honest with you. I haven't seen Hermansen, distribute the ball that much better than Areola could. Maybe marginally, but that's it. So we need we need leaders in this team. We need players that are going to lead this team out of this championship a league. Otherwise, we're stuck there. We'll be stuck there for another season. And we've got to stop trying to pass the ball into the net. We're not good enough. We're not good enough. Do what other teams do. Go route one. I don't care. If it's route one and the goal, then you could do your tippy tappy when you're trying to get your next goal or whatever. Once you go up front, do your tippy tappy, all the sideways passes that you want, but get the goal first in order to give you that platform. We're going to get a lot of teams that are going to low block us. Charlton did well. Charlton deserved their win, because they low blocked us, and when they got an opportunity, they went for it, and they had an outlet. We've seen this happen so many times before. We saw it happen many times in the Premier League last season. It's happening again this season. And we need players, like I've said, we need leaders and bruisers in this team. So we hear that we're in for a lone goalie. I think we need a right back to challenge and not actually be a backup, but to challenge Carl Walker-Peters to the right back spot. That's our other problem. Our fullbacks are not overlapping, which means there's more pressure that's being put on Solomon and Bowen to produce, because you're not getting Carl Walker-Peters or Ollie Scarles overlapping and then crossing the ball into the box with their natural foot. How many times did I see Scarles on the left-hand side stop and then cut the ball back again? Mate, get the ball, whack it in. Get it in the box. We had Pirro and we had Castellanos, both good headers of the ball, weren't getting the service that they needed in order to try and score goals. So I think we're looking at a goalie. I think we need a right back. I think we need a left back. Well, no, we do need a left back now that Diouf is going. We need a centre back without a shadow of a doubt, because Dinos and Kilman are not working. I think we need a bruiser, a leader in the centre of the park. Like I said, the irony, we had those, but we let them all go. So that's 5. We need an attacking winger. And I hear also, apparently, we're back in for Adam Crozier-Duberry from Brighton. Now, the latest story on him is apparently we've edged ahead of Rangers, who are also in on him. And apparently we're making a bigger offer, and we should be signing the 21-year-old to come to London. And that's exactly what we need. We need a player that has got pace, a tricky player that's got a bit of pace about him. But we hear about Daniel Job, the guy, the player who plays in Norway. I don't know about him at the moment, but it looks like we're looking at Cozier-Duberry to come in. We need someone like that. So, and maybe we also need another striker. So that's like 6 or 7 more players that we need to get before the summer transfer window shuts in about 8 or 9 days' time. Are we going to get them? I just don't know, to be quite honest with you. But we know that we need a bigger squad than what we've got. All this stuff about Nuno liking to work with a small squad, we can't afford it. We've got a game on Tuesday. The games come thick and fast. Game on Tuesday, then back again against away to Watford on Saturday. You cannot play. Look at that squad again. The bench. There's not a lot of options. All right, we've got Souček coming back and Pablo coming back from injury, but even so, you still need more players to come in. So we need more players. We need to sign more players. Whether we get them or not, I do not know. There's no urgency. There's no speed in this team, and it's not any different to what we already knew. So I said I would judge Nuno once we got more players, and I'm judging him. I don't think he's used them in the right way. We've got to change our tactics. Now, what's really interesting about Nuno is, it's about Daniel Kretinsky. I'll come to how it links to Nuno in a second. When I was looking at all the details about Daniel Kretinsky and all this sharehold stuff, I looked in his background. I didn't realize that Daniel Kretinsky's owned Sparta Prague for 20 years. 20 years this year is his 20th year since he took over. And I asked my mates, how many managers do you think Sparta Prague have had in those 20 years? And they're like, oh, no, 5, 6, maybe, something like that. And it surprised me. They've had 20 managers in 20 years, which means a manager for every year. Now, clearly, when it comes back to Nuno, Kretinsky will get rid of him if he's not delivering. I think we're going to give Nuno. I think I'm going to give Nuno probably till around mid-October. If we're not starting to win games, and not only just starting to win games, but if we're not starting to win games convincingly, I've got a feeling that by mid-October, Nuno could be gone. Kretinsky won't suffer seeing this team languishing in the Championship Whether we've got a full squad or not, I think he'll bring someone else in. So what do? We've got to now hope for. We've got a game on Tuesday. I want to see some changes. I want to see Areola in goal. I want and give him and say to him, mate, here's your chance. Prove to me that you should be back to being our number one keeper. I think I like to see uh, Skiles taken out of the limelight for out of the spotlight. Sorry for this, and put to Ezra Myers in. Now, all right, it goes back on what I just said about defenders overlapping, because you're not going to get that much from Ezra Myers going forward, but you will get a more solid left back. I'll keep Alford in his his place, game where he finished off in the centre of the park, and I want to see Mikasa being given a start in midfield. I want to see Engels play and Mikasa. They're the creative players, so I want to see them just behind Pirro. Give Tati a rest. Not only because of his head going, but also because we've got a game coming up next Saturday against Watford, and keep him for that. So a few changes where some of these players can demonstrate. Look, if Dinos is fit, he went off, looked like he picked up a knock on Saturday, but if he's fit, put Veltman in there. You can put Veltman on the right and Dinos on the left, whatever, but pair them up, because I want to see Veltman actually start regularly until we get another centre back. I want to see Veltman be the starter alongside Dinos. Get Kilman out. Dinos is a worse defender when Kilman is alongside him. He makes him panic, and it's just not good. So I think Veltman can stake a claim for being a regular starter until we get another central defender in. So change that. Change the goalie. Put Areola in. Put Veltman in. Put Myers in, and start Mikasa as well. Make those changes to that lineup and see what happens on Tuesday night against Southampton. Sorry, it's not so fun. It's not fun when when you're trying to look for positives, but there aren't any positives. I think Nuno's on thin ice. I really do. I think if things don't change, if we go out of the cup on Tuesday night and then we start looking at languishing against Watford, not a convincing, even if we win, but if it's not convincing, I think he's in trouble. I think he's in trouble sooner rather than later. Tell me what you think. Become a subscriber. Do leave your comments. Hit the like button. Hit the bell notification to let you know when I'm next on. There's a hype button as well. If you click that, it allows other people to watch this channel as well. Thank you for watching and listening. I'll see you all again soon.